Hello and welcome along to another episode of our FIFA 19 career mode with Crewe Alexandra. It's season 2, episode 2, and today we're back to continue the start to our League 1 campaign, as promised, with a big away trip to Sunderland. But since the last episode, you can see things are going quite well. We're up in 8th place on 10 points after 6 games. We have struggled a little bit with form occasionally, and we have had a bit of an issue with a few players going on international duty. But other than that, it's going as well as it possibly could be. And the only real disappointment is that we went out of the Carabao Cup on penalties away to Swansea, which I guess in itself isn't a disappointment because they're a good side in comparison. But our managerial rating went down to 73 as a result, and that's just because we've technically underperformed in that cup. We've got a couple of other signings to speak about towards the end of the window. They're not British players. We had to abandon our technique slightly. One was through choice because a brilliant player came up, and the other one was just because we couldn't afford anyone else. So this guy up front, he's come from FC Groningen for around £1 million, and he's an absolutely brilliant player, and most remarkably with his 68 rating, he only wants under £3,000 a week, which is an absolute steal for us at this level, and that's actually realistic for League 1, unlike some of the others, despite the fact that this player's far too good for us. And most importantly, when we go to look at his physical stats, 92 for pace, 90 acceleration, loads of strength, loads of stamina, and I think he's a pretty decent finisher as well. So technically he's not too bad, and he's only 23 years of age, so he's got a bit of development in him yet. And if we go and look, he's got a decent weak foot, a high work rate both in attack and defence, and at 6 foot tall, he's got pretty much everything we could want from a centre forward. So although we were planning to play Bowery alongside Morris this year, this opportunity was just too good to pass up, and he was a far more affordable option than Eddie Nketiah from Arsenal, who we mentioned before we've tried to sign. And the second one is a bit more experienced. We've only got him on a 2-year deal. It's just because all of the young ones we wanted were either unavailable, too expensive, or we couldn't afford the wage. So we found this guy on the free agents list. He looks like a decent player. He's a 29-year-old centre-half. I think he's Hungarian. He is 6'1", works fairly hard. He's got everything we'd want for a defensive player. He's quick, he's strong, he's got lots of stamina, and he should be a player that can play every game. The one problem we have had from that, as we experienced in the last game, is both he and Pardew are called up for international duty, and we end up with just 2 centre-halves at the club that are both of our sub-options. But that's last year's captain Ray, the youngster Mason, and we've also got Perry and G, the right back, who can cover in the middle like he did last year. The other man who we often lose for international duty is Kirilov, but again we've got plenty of options in midfield, so it just gives one of the youngsters or one of our stars from last year a chance. The one other player that deserves a special mention is Pelly Ruddock. He's our top scorer on 3 goals from 6 games. He's been absolutely brilliant for us so far this season, and has been one of the key men in our rise in the top half of the table. The new striker Pole's also been brilliant. He came in and got a brace on his debut and endeared himself to the fans almost instantly. If we go very quickly to our calendar, we can look at the results since you were last with me. Obviously you joined me for that first game of the season last week against Swindon. We followed that up with another brilliant 1-0 win, this time at home to Charlton, before sneaking through against Bristol Rovers away from home in the Carabao Cup. We nicked it on penalties after a bore draw. We then went away to Millwall, and this is where things started to go wrong. I know they've come down from the Championship, but they looked a number of classes above us. They were absolutely fantastic and played us off the park, and 3-1 probably flattered us, to be honest. We followed that up with another defeat away to Mansfield, 2-0 this time. We were more disappointing in that game rather than being outplayed, but we did then come back to a good performance level against Swansea. Unfortunately we did go out on penalties in the end, but we put up one hell of a fight with a rotated side. We then played Scunthorpe in the league and won 4-0, our most dominant performance of the season, and that was where our new centre-forward got his brace, and we were just absolutely fantastic across the park. We scored some brilliant goals, and it's probably in this career so far the best performance I've produced. We then moved into September, just the 2 games so far. We played Notts County in the Checker Trade Trophy. It follows a very different format on here because obviously you've only got the 2 league sides, you haven't got the teams from the under-23 leagues. So more of a knockout competition, but we nicked it 1-0 against Notts County. That was followed with our last game during the international break against Bradford. That's where we were missing our 2 centre-halves and Kirilov, but we managed to get a 0-0 draw, and although we weren't great in the game, we looked fairly solid and comfortable. So we go into this one fairly happy with where we are. Our youngsters Mason and Griffiths are still getting a chance to shine. And all in all, things are going as well as we could have expected them to. I'm not sure if we'll be able to push for a playoff place this year. I think as the players develop, particularly the younger ones during the season, and their ratings start to grow, a bit like last year, we'll probably start to climb up the league a little. But after a fairly tough start, where we've played favourites such as Charlton, the newly relegated Millwall, and then obviously today Sunderland, we've got a slightly easier spell in the next month or so before we start the big games again, where we mentioned we'll be playing against the likes of Birmingham in episode 4. But that's enough about off the pitch matters. We're going to go and get into today's game. It's away at Sunderland, arguably the most reputable side in the league. An absolutely fantastic club that's had a lot of problems off the pitch in the last few years. They seem to be fixing things on it at the moment, and they're doing well in League One in real life this season. So I have no doubt they won't actually be spending 2 years in that division, like they have in this save here. We've got a bit of a weird situation where both of our kits clash, so we're actually going to end up in a home kit and Sunderland in their away one, which is a little bit of a strange occurrence, but no complaints for us. We're going out with our first choice 11, and we've got everyone that we wanted to fit on the bench, so we're at full strength after a much weakened side played in the last couple of games, and we'll be back in a second with the kick-off. It's kick-off time. We're going to the Stadium of Light. I'm not sure if the ground's actually reflected in-game or not. It doesn't look like it. Doesn't look big enough for the Stadium of Light, despite the fact it's been in previous editions of the game. You'd have thought they'd just left it in. But let's get on it. Oh, it is in the game. Fair enough. It looked a bit smaller than it is in real life, but that might have just been the camera angle. Let's get into the game. We're expecting to be outplayed in this one. It's probably one of the few teams in the league that have got better players than us across the board, including Ndong on the ball there, who's actually been released in real life. The ball's been headed away, but they're coming forward at us 25 yards out. Love it when the sun's in your eyes. They're going to go ahead straight away, are they? There we go. Straight past the keeper, and we're going to start to see a golfing class at this level. Don't know who it was that finished the ball in the end, but it was a lovely finish into the top corner, and we can't compete with those. Never heard of the bloke who scored it, but I'm sure he's better than most of our players. We've got a much younger team. You can see a lot of theirs are at sort of peak age, mid-20s, late 20s. They've got the likes of Aidan McGeady, Wyke, who they signed before as well. Adam Matthews, the former Celtic player. Whereas for us, we're very much trying to build a side for the future. And it might be a tough year this year. I know we talked about trying to get up to the Championship, but it just depends on how quickly these guys develop. Because at the moment, we need to wait a little bit longer for them to reach their peak. And once we start to get 2 or 3 into the 70s and they start to develop physically so they can play 90 minutes to key men, then we might be in with a chance. But we are coming forward for the first time with James Justin on the right here. We're about 12 minutes in and we're finally getting attack into the box. Flicks off the man to Morgan Gibbs White on the volley, but he's put it over. It was a poor effort in truth. But it was nice to see that we can create chances on the counter, and we were going forward at such speed there. But that's the sort of thing that starts to run out after about 60 minutes, unfortunately. There is one other thing I'm going to try now, because I can see they're playing quite a high line. We don't normally like to mess with these instructions too much, but we're going to set Pole, the quick young striker, to get in behind, and hopefully he'll make them runs over the top, and we can just hit the long diagonals then. But with 15 minutes gone, it very much looks like Sunderland are going to have the better of us in this one. And Pardew's trying to make the challenge and does get the block in, but it's given away by the other centre-half, and luckily it's deflected behind for a corner. We survived this time, but they're surely going to have a bit of an aerial presence from the set pieces as well. Hopefully we can win out in the air. We haven't. It's bouncing around all over, and it's been nodded in. I think it is Didier Ndong who scored the goal now. It is indeed. They're 2-0 up with just 16 minutes gone, and this is going to be a very long day at the Stadium of Light. We've got the kick-off now. We're going towards the left-hand side. Morgan Gibbs White plays it to the fullback McQueen. It's an undercooked pass again. Morgan Gibbs White again with his technical ability, very good, but not quite developed physically yet. And you can see there he's just a little bit slow for the opposition, and he manages to give the ball away. But we've won it back again. Kirillov trying to get the ball into Morris, who can hold it up the target man. But again, normally he's been so good at that this year, but Kone's just too strong for him. A player who was playing very well in the Premier League for them under Allardyce a few years ago. And now they're coming forward through the right-hand side again. They've cut it back to the middle, and Pelly Ruddock, our star man this year, has won it back. James Justin coming down the right. He's got that running behind from Pole. That's what we want to see. Can he get the ball across the box? Deflects back to him 20 yards out. Gets Morgan Gibbs White on the edge to Colton Morris. Gets the shot away. Deflects off the centre forward and behind for a corner. Morris is now getting booked for an earlier challenge. He was really clumsy after he lost the ball to Kone. But we've got a chance now, and set pieces is probably our best hope in this game. But the keeper's really strong there. Comes out and commands. Kirilov gets the ball to McQueen. McQueen tries to flick it across the box, but it's headed away again, and they've got the ball 25 yards out. They're coming forward down the right-hand side with the first goal scorer, Seri. And here we go. Morgan Gibbs-White's got to hold him up. He's not. He's been beaten too easily. And Ampadu's going to be chasing out wide, but will he get there is the question. He's not going to make it, is he? The cross still comes in. Justin knocks it away as far as Gibbs-White, and we can finally get a counter-attack on again. Tries to find Pole, but the ball's under hit, and it's straight at the centre-half for Sunderland, who come forward again. They've got the ball with O'Neill 25 yards out, but his shot's ragged, and it's a long way wide. But another warning sign at 2-0. We've been given time to take a short goal kick, which doesn't often happen, and we've absolutely wasted it. That's atrocious. Pelly Ruddock's been lucky to get the ball back again. Manjek finds Gibbs-White, tries to get the ball up to Kirilov, and now McQueen on the overlap. Can we get Morris in at that back post region to win a header? We can. He's up. He loses out in the air, though. They're just too physical in every aspect of the game. They've just got a little bit of an advantage on us, and now they're coming forward again. And Pardew quite often charges forward to get the player, get the early challenge in, but on this occasion it hasn't worked. And in this game, to be honest, it hasn't really worked at all. Justin possibly commits a foul there, but gets away with it. Ruddock wins the ball back, and we've got to just hope we can hang on for 2-0 at half-time at this point. Kirilov bringing it forward to Morgan Gibbs-White. Now Kirilov again on halfway, looking for Morris. We've finally got an overlap on here with Justin. The pass is slightly under hit, but he gets it back inside to Morris. Goes for it first time, but it's blocked behind. We should have tried to cut inside there, but unfortunately we didn't have it under pressure. We just lacked a little bit of composure, and unfortunately we wasted the opportunity. Kirilov with the ball in towards Ampadu. Great header by Ethan Ampadu. There's his first goal for Crewe Alexandra, and the youngsters finally showing a bit of promise. We've got a goal from a set piece. We mentioned earlier it's the only route we're really going to get back into this game. And just before the half-time whistle, it's 2-1. It's gone down as an Adam Matthews own goal. It must have taken a deflection where it was going wide or over. But we don't care. We've got a chance of nicking a point in this second half. Morgan Gibbs-White's pressing again, but he's just not quick enough. Kirilov and Gibbs-White, nothing between them. Ampadu's closing down, and now McQueen. McQueen holds the man up, and it goes as far as Ampadu again. Much stronger in the challenge this time and wins it back. But it's gone straight to the opposition, who are just too quick for us again. And on the half-time whistle, it's 2-1 to Sunderland. It should be a lot more, but we nicked a goal from a set piece. We'll be back in a moment for the start of the second half. We're underway in the second half. It's the young striker taking the centre kick, and we've just got to hope we can do a lot better than the first half, or that Sunderland for some reason have a lot of older players who are going to drop off towards the end of the match. Carlton Morris is holding the ball up and goes back to Pelly Ruddock. It's not, it's Manjek who's there in the end. What's Manjek doing on the right hand side? He should be sitting in front of the back four. We've got him to hold position, and we very rarely see him up there. So that's a bit of a strange one, but McQueen's got the ball on the left-hand side. Wonderful ball into Morris, knocks it down, second time of asking. The defender gets a last-ditch challenge in, and they managed to survive, but we've started brightly in this half. And now Morris plays the 1-2 with Justin from the throw-in. He doesn't, in fact, he goes back. Pelly Ruddock and Panzu to Manjek. Manjek gets the ball into Pole, the striker. Not really running in behind there. Morris gets the ball out to Ruddock. Ruddock's going to deliver as he can, but it's a poor ball, and Morris just loses out in that challenge there. The ball coming down the left-hand side for Sunderland. We've got a defender. Right back's out of position, so this is going to be tricky. And the fact that Manjek's so far forward chasing the game is a bit strange. McQueen's won it back in an attacking position, though. He's going to run inside in the hope that the striker goes off him. He does. First touch into the bottom corner. What a goal by Pole. The young striker is just making those cute little runs in behind, and it works out as we get a point on the board. We score with a brilliant counter-attack. McQueen wins it back high up the pitch. Wait for this run from Pole down the left. Just peeled off the centre-half. And a lovely finish into the bottom far corner. 2-2, and we're on for a result at the Stadium of Light. What a turn-up for the books this is. And I bet you couldn't have predicted this after about 15 minutes. They're coming forward down the right. Pole's there again. The pace to close down is brilliant, and I think we've got the throw-in as well. One of the old boys, Aidan McGeady, goes off for Sunderland. Manjek's got the ball from the throw-in back to Morgan Gibbs-White. He's going to go inside to Kirilov, and we're just going to slowly build an attack again. Morgan Gibbs-White, he's got the ball down the left. It's just intercepted before McQueen can get there. And now they're bringing it away on the counter-attack, and they've got an extra man. We've got to defend well at centre-half here. We've slid into a challenge there, which isn't a good idea, and they're coming down the wing now. McQueen's back again, but he's beaten to this one. And Pardu's chasing, but he's got caught out of position and a little bit out of shape. He's got back and made a fantastic challenge, though. And now we can bring the ball away with Kirilov to Morgan Gibbs-White. He's got to switch on to Pelly Ruddock, who's just going to turn back inside and get it wide. McQueen on the left-hand side. He's got that run from the centre forward again. We're trying to get Carlton Morris in the box. We're just going to cut inside, try and deliver. It's an overhit ball and Pelly Ruddock can't quite get there. It's out for a goal kick and it's time for us to make some changes. We'll make all 3 substitutions and we'll be back in a second with news of them. The 3 subs have been made then. We had to sacrifice Carlton Morris because he's got a booking and he's had a couple of fouls since. We've also got a situation at left back where McQueen was knackered and was the left-sided diamond player. Morgan Gibbs-White it was, sorry. And we've brought on 2 subs for them. James Jones, who's gone over to the right-hand side of the diamond, just to spread out our fitness. And Dan Potts, last season stars, come on at left-back. Kirilov's got the ball and we're starting to dominate possession. Look how deep Sunderland are. That's what we want to see. And after 15 minutes, we couldn't have dreamt of this. Here is Jones, a substitute. He's got Justin on the overlap. Going to take a touch and deliver. In towards Pole, the striker, but he's lost out in the air. And it's away for another attacking throw. We probably should have gone for a low cross there, but I didn't know if the centre-half would intercept it. Bowery's got the ball down from the throat of Justin. And we're giving 3 of last season's heroes a chance, which is really good to see. We've got the ball out to Potts now. Potts to take on his man. Beats him with that extra fitness. Delivers towards Bowery. Forces a bit of trouble, but unfortunately he's lost out at the second time of asking. The ball's away from Sunderland and now they can attack on the counter. Manjek wins it back brilliantly, sitting in that holding role though. We made sure he got back into holding position now. We're back at 2-2. We don't want him taking any risks and here he is again. And we won't be surprised when he's caught up the field in future. And Pardew gets the ball up to Jones. Jones tries to find Bowery, but it's not a great ball. And unfortunately Sunderland can bring it away. Back to the goalkeeper and they're bringing it out very slowly and very cleverly. They're managing to work round us at the back there. Potts loses out in the air. Again, we're lacking that physicality. We've been caught out in the middle here if they can find the ball. But Pardew forces the man wide. He's done really well there. And the crossing will be headed away by the Hungarian centre-half. Jones turns out to Pelly Ruddock, who can hit us on the counter now. Pole should still be making those runs in behind. We're just waiting for him to get there. He's not. He's had to cut back. Pelly Ruddock inside to Kirilov. Kirilov looking for the ball again to Bowery. Bowery to Jones. We've got an overlap, but we're not going to use it. We're going to go inside instead to Kirilov. Finds Bowery in the box. Has the shot straight at the keeper. I was aiming for that far corner, but we didn't catch the keeper out, and he deals with that comfortably. But with a couple of minutes to go, it looks like we're going to draw 2-2. And given the start to the game we had, that's absolutely fantastic. They're one of the biggest sides in the league, and to get a result here bodes well for us challenging for the top 6 this year. Kirilov on the edge, one more effort, deflects, and in the end it's tame. The final whistle goes just after that tame effort. It is a 2-2 draw, but what a result after a really poor start. It looked like it could have been 4 or 5 after 15 minutes, where Ndong got the second of the game on 17. But fortunately we came back into it. The second goal, a brilliant counter-attack where McQueen won the ball back and got it into Pole, who managed to finish in the bottom corner. You can see McQueen got man of the match down there with a 9.4. A fantastic performance from him, and in the end we had the better of both possession and shots due to a dominant second half. A fantastic performance. We'll go and see what the other results were in the league. Charlton are starting to move up the league. They got a 4-0 win at home to Swindon Town. My beloved Luton Town won again, as did Birmingham away from home. We've got no other news items to talk about. Somehow our managerial rating's gone down again. But we're not too worried about those things for now. We're all about getting the results and moving up the table. And I'm starting to get a bit optimistic that we can challenge for a playoff place once these lads start to develop off the pitch. But that will be all for this episode. If you did enjoy it, please put a thumbs up on the video. There's a new video from FIFA 19 every Friday with Crewe Alexandra. Let me know in the comments where you think we're going to finish this season. Are you optimistic we can sneak in the playoffs? Or do you think we're going to have to settle for a top half finish this year? Subscribe to the channel for daily FM19 content, as my channel name gives away. There's loads of action in our 2 stories at the moment. The head coach, where we work under a director of football with no say in transfers and contracts. And we've also got our story Part of the Furniture, the One Club Challenge similar to this one, but with Torquay United starting in the Vanarama National League South. A lot of drama going on in both those series at the moment, so go and catch up with those if you haven't yet. But a massive thanks for watching this one as always, and we'll see you next time.